A diversion. That's the word a federal judge used to describe Donald Trump's justice. Departments moved to unseal the grand jury testimony in the criminal case of Ghislaine Maxwell, the same Maxwell convicted of sex trafficking alongside Jeffrey Epstein, a man Trump once called his closest friend for a decade, and diversion is exactly what Donald Trump is leaning on now, more than ever. He doesn't want the headlines focused on his old friend Jeffrey Epstein or on what the Epstein files might reveal about him, where his name reportedly appears more than once. Instead, Trump is staging something else for the cameras. His attorney general announced that the National Guard would be sent into Washington, D.C., 5 years too late. Remember, on January 6th, when his supporters stormed the Capitol after he told them to fight like hell, Trump didn't send in the Guard. He didn't even go to the Capitol as he promised them he would. But now, he wants to send just enough troops into D.C. to make sure the media captures the images. The same kind of staged shots we've already seen in Los Angeles. Soldiers standing around with nothing to do. This troop deployment is not about security. It's a photo op, a distraction from the Epstein files that Trump wants sealed forever. He's sending only 200 National Guard members into a city that already has 3,400 police officers, 1,800 Capitol Police, and thousands more federal officers, from Secret Service to U.S. Marshals. In other words, they'll be outnumbered by Hotel d'Or. It's pure political theater, and Trump will likely repeat this in other Democrat-run cities he dislikes. The presence of troops will always be tiny, but the camera angles will make it look larger than life, fueling endless chatter online and on TV. That's the point. Keep his supporters entertained, and keep attention off his friendship with Epstein. And Maxwell, let's not forget, is the only convicted child sex trafficker in history to receive well wishes from a U.S. president. After she was charged, Trump said, "I wish her well." Trump's diversions have become frantic. He's used tariffs, foreign leaders like Vladimir Putin, anything to keep the focus away from certain topics. And this latest push to release grand jury transcripts? The judge saw right through it. In his 31-page ruling, Judge Paul Engelmayer summarized the testimony without quoting it directly, saying there was nothing of significance in it, no new information, nothing the public hadn't already heard during Maxwell's trial. The trial, where she refused to testify under oath, the judge called the Justice Department's arguments demonstrably false. He explained that the grand juries weren't even investigative. They heard from no victims, no eyewitnesses, just a single law enforcement agent giving a condensed, hearsay summary to support the charges, most importantly the transcripts. Named no one, no clients, no additional perpetrators, no new locations or methods. Nothing about Epstein's death. And Trump's team already knew all of this before they pushed for the release. The judge concluded it was reasonable to think the motion was aimed not at transparency, but at creating the illusion of transparency, a diversion, just as we suspected. When Trump first made the announcement, in fact, the Justice Department itself, under Trump, had already stated publicly that no further investigation was warranted. Their memo said they found no evidence to justify charges against any uncharged third parties. They studied the Epstein files, including every mention of Trump's name, and then closed the case. And here's another detail. Maxwell was moved from a Florida prison to a cushier minimum security facility in Texas, just days after agreeing to meet with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Trump's former personal criminal defense lawyer. Maxwell had never spoken to prosecutors or agents before, not even during her own trial. But she agreed to speak with him. What did they discuss? Did she promise never to say anything incriminating about Trump? Did she leave that meeting believing she'd be out of prison by the end of Trump's presidency, just 3.5 years away? Her lawyers have since pushed the false narrative that she was a scapegoat, prosecuted only because Epstein died. But Judge Engelmayer reminded us what she was actually charged with and what the jury proved beyond a reasonable doubt, that she played an instrumental role for about a decade in luring, grooming, and trafficking vulnerable underage girls for sexual abuse by Epstein, sometimes participating in that abuse herself, that she targeted girls from troubled backgrounds, gained their trust, normalized the abuse, and even instructed them in sexual acts. That she paid victims cash, encouraged them to recruit others, and ran a culture of silence. See nothing, hear nothing, say nothing. And she did all of this while being friends with Donald Trump. So if the day comes when Trump grants her a pardon, one of those last day, headline-grabbing pardons he's known for, remember what the court proved. Remember that Trump already wished her well after she was indicted. And remember that when it comes to the Epstein files, Trump is now asking his followers to do exactly what Maxwell told her victims to do. See nothing, hear nothing, say nothing.